welcome back to Outex TV. Today we are reviewing episode 5 of the season 8 of Game of Thrones. And this is the second last episode. We only have one more to go in Game of Thrones, and boy oh boy, did they not disappoint in this episode or what? This episode was mental. Absolutely mental. So many twists and turns in this episode I did not see coming at all. So let's get into this and let's talk Game of Thrones episode 5 season 8. Okay, so episode 5 has now been officially viewed by most of the people that are Game of Thrones fans. And let's get into it because there's so much to talk about here. I mean, where do I begin? Like, this episode, where do I begin? I don't even know where to begin. So, it starts off basically, the bald guy, Verses or something? I can't remember what his name is. But Tyrion basically snitches on him, and this is where you see everything after he told Jon basically, look Jon, you need to be the king, which I'm with him. Jon should be king. F Daenerys, she can get out of there, especially after this episode. She is a bit cuckoo. Get out of there, Jon, while you can. Anyway, so she executes him by friggin' dragon. I thought he was going to eat him first, because the dragon just pops up. I'm like, oh my god, he's going to eat him. And he just breathes fire, and I'm like, well, that's a sucky way to die. Poor fella. And, you know, you had that moment with him and Tyrion grabs him and basically says, look, mate, you've been a good friend and everything like that. And you can just see the mutual respect for them. And, yeah, so he's gone now. He is gone, ski. So that's another one ticked off the list. How many more are we going to get as we move into the final series? I mean, I don't even know who's going to sit on the throne after this episode because they're so unpredictable right now. It's insane. So anyway, we get into it, and Daenerys is waging war on Cersei. She doesn't care. She's going in, and Tyrion is pleading with her, please, just, if the bells ring, don't attack the civilians. Let them. That means they surrender, and we can just take them all out. And she basically tells Tyrion as well that, really, she's caught Jaime trying to go back to King's Landing, and he's there. So Tyrion, let me just stop for a second. That moment between Tyrion and Jaime in the tent when he's about to set Jaime free, boy oh boy, that right there was just so good. Like, Tyrion basically saying to him, look man, you were the only one that ever treated me like a proper person, not like a little monster. And you can just see how much Tyrion loves Jaime, and Jaime loves Tyrion. And it's basically sitting there, and he's like, if it wasn't for you, I wouldn't be here right now. You were the one that looked after me during our childhood. And that moment, was just so good. You know, you're closing that chapter right then and there with him and Jaime. Because I had a feeling Jaime wasn't going to make it out of this episode. But, I mean, that moment, to tie that bow on that was just, and it was so heartfelt. It was so good. The acting was unbelievable. Peter Dinklage was unbelievable. The emotion he brought. And Jaime was so good as well. And that scene was just peak Game of Thrones. Peak Game of Thrones. So anyway, so we get on, and basically Dany goes in and wrecks the Iron Fleet. Absolutely wrecks the Iron Fleet. They ain't got crap. I mean, I'm sitting there and I'm like, well, how's she going to do this? She's already tried before. And I was thinking, how is she going to do this? And then when she comes down, I'm like, okay, so she's coming straight down. They can't obviously shoot up. Then I was like, well, but if she comes down, they're going to shoot from the side. But she uses the glare from the sun and the cloud so they can't actually see her. And by the time they actually see her, it's too late. She's already there basically effing shit up. And she goes through and she just wrecks anything that can hurt her dragon. On the wall, everything. And then they storm King's Landing. So they're storming King's Landing right now. And basically, Cersei is like, come on, we only need one shot. And then he's basically like, nah, it's gone. The dragon's destroyed everything to be able to kill it with. Like, we can't kill it. And she's like, trying to say that the men are going to fight and all that stuff. And then the big twist, they finally ring the bell to signal, look, we surrender and that, and then it pans to Dany on top of the dragon, and you just see her face. And it's the Mad Queen face. She is just so driven by emotion, so driven by anger, that she just unleashes on anyone in King's Landing. Civilians, Lannister soldiers, even her own people are caught in this crossfire. And Grey Worm does it as well. He turns and he just starts attacking unarmed guards and that who already surrendered. And boom, Jon sees this. And I think this is the moment now where Jon realizes that Daenerys is not all that he thought. She is a Mad Queen, just like her dad. And Jon now has a big decision to make on what to do. So while she's wrecking all that, Arya and, the Hound make their way through King's Landing. They get in there, and she's basically after Cersei, and we all know what the Hound's after. He's after the Mountain. Meanwhile, Jaime's running around as well, trying to get in there to save, Cersei and that, to talk to her. Anyway, he runs into Euron, I think his name is, which is the Iron Fleet leader guy. He's so annoying. And him and Jaime go at it, and Jaime eventually gets him and kills him. And yeah, so he then goes up, Jaime goes under to find Cersei's. Meanwhile, Arya and the Hound have actually got into the main building at King's Landing as they're coming down the stairs. And basically, the Hound is like, you need to go, Arya. If you come with me, you're going to die. And you can just see the relationship the Hound and Arya had. Like, it was so good. And she basically, as he's leaving, calls him by his real name and says, thank you for everything that basically he did for her, getting her out of King's Landing and that, and looking after her all those times. And that was just to tie the bow on that as well. Just like that. They knew that's all that needed to be said, was just her saying thank you, because you knew that was wrapped up. So the Hound goes on. He comes front and center with the Mountain, and the Mountain knows who he is. He's like looking at him like, oh yeah, here we go. Basically, Cersei's like, stay by my side, and then Thingo's just like, her hand, he's like, yes, listen to your queen. He picks him up and just chucks him. He's dead. Like, just like that, he's dead. And anyway, Cersei's basically just like, well, I'm out of here then. Runs down and see you later. And then the Hound and the Mountain go at it. And you finally get to see what he looks like after everything that's happened to him. And how he's been brought back to life. And they have a big battle. And you just about think the Hound's going to lose. And then the Hound stabs him through the eye. And then tackles him through the wall. And they fall like 70 foot down or whatever into the pits of fire. And that's basically the Hound and Mountain gone. If the Mountain gets up from that, then he's just a freak of nature. Nothing can kill him. But that's basically, their story is ended. There's a bow on there. The Hound finally killed his brother in the process on killing himself as well. So then Daenerys is still going around just wrecking everyone. You had that moment where Arya's seeing everything happen as well, and innocent people dying. And that's triggering her as well. She's like, well, Daenerys is not really who she said she was. Tyrion sees this and he just can't believe it, because he knows the other guy that got executed at the start, he was right. She's just a mad queen. She's just killing everyone and doesn't care for anyone. And like, she's just basically destroyed everything. What's the point of sitting on that Iron Throne now? Like, you just destroyed all of King's Landing. Like, that you just basically destroyed the Iron Throne, really. Like, don't you want something to rule? And that was the big thing. It's like, Dany doesn't care. Like, you have nothing to rule. You can't rule by fear. People have done that and it doesn't work. And Tyrion's now seen that. Arya's now seen that. Jon's now seen that all she cares about is the throne and ruling by fear. So then you get to Cersei and Jaime. Jaime finds her, tries to lead her out so they can get to safety. Unfortunately, everything's blocked, and then they hug each other, and it's basically, they went out that way. The building landed on them. As far as I know, I think they're dead. I mean, who knows? They could have survived that, but I highly doubt it. The building actually fell on them. So I didn't think Cersei would go out that way. And I didn't think Jaime would go out that way either. So I thought maybe he would have killed her or whatever, but they went out that way. Which now begs the question, is Arya going to kill Daenerys because of the green eyes? You know, the prophecy was green eyes was the next one. Dany's got green eyes. I think she's got green eyes. I'm pretty sure she does. Does Arya kill her now? Now we move into the next episode, and it's going to be a doozy to wrap off, because where do we go now? We got a Mad Queen. Jon is in two friggin' minds now what to do. And there was one point there I thought Grey Worm was going to turn on Jon, and they were going to have a fight. I mean, get out of Grey Worm. Jon will wreck anyone. He's the best swordsman in Westeros. So, yeah, so I thought it was a good episode. I mean, it shocked me what was happening, and I didn't expect so many deaths from certain people and stuff. Well, I did, but I didn't expect them to go out that way, and I didn't expect Dany to turn, for a wrestling term, to turn that much heel. She just went full heel on everyone. And now she's like the worst person. She's like I think she's almost as worse as Cersei. Like, she's just a bitch. Like, kill her now, Jon or Arya. Someone kill her. Get her out of there. But it's great acting and it's great writing, because you need a character like that. So let me know, what are your thoughts on Game of Thrones Episode 5? We got one more to go, and then we'll wrap it all up, and Game of Thrones will be over. I mean, it's a sad moment, but it is what it is. So, have yourselves a lovely day, and I'll see you guys in the next video. Have yourselves a lovely day.